Hey, my name is Sara Taylor, and I am the writer, producer, and star of Going Places, a coming of age short film about the guilt of wanting to make your hometown heroes proud. Welcome to the very first episode of the Going Places podcast. You are in for an amazing treat of a conversation with Ariyel, who I will introduce very shortly. But first, a little bit of business on our end. As of posting this, we are just 3 days away from launching our Seed and Spark campaign. On May 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, our 30-day quest to obtain $15,000 of funding begins. Please head to the Going Places Seed and Spark, linked everywhere for you. Take a look at our incentives, give us a follow, share with your friends. Truly anything will help. If you haven't listened to the announcement video about this little companion podcast, please do. And now for our guest. Ariyel makes alt pop about trauma, love, and other light topics. Based in Minneapolis with roots in the Southwest and Pacific Northwest, she knows how to be a sad girl in the dust and the rain and the snow. Her music blends ambient textures, intimate vocals, and raw lyricism to deliver the 1-2 devastating emotional punch in music she has been obsessed with since the age of 12. Her concept album, Things You Know as Normal, is out everywhere as of May 5th, 5 years in the making, and finally ready for you to listen to her. Get ready for this absolute gift of a conversation. We go through her album song by song, so give it a listen if you haven't already. Please enjoy our Gap Sesh, and thank you for watching and listening. I don't even know how to start this. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
We are very, very lucky to have Ariyel talking to us today as the very first episode of whatever this is. Thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm lucky to be here.
What you got going on? What just happened the other day? Even though we're recording this before it happens.
True. I did, in fact, release my album that I've been working on for like 5 years.
Yay!
So that's crazy.
What is it called?
It's called Things You Know as Normal.
Yay.
And it's out everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a
You
concept.
better go stream it.
You better. A threat.
Absolutely. We're going to be going through the album song by song, which is exciting, and chatting about that and chatting about it in relation to this fun little short film that I wrote.
Yes.
But before we get into the actual album, I would love to talk about a little song that you wrote called It's Just Me.
Yay.
You know
I'm
that
so
one?
excited. I do. I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I did create it. And
did.
I'm really excited that it gets to be a part of the short film that you are working on right now.
Yeah. I'm grateful that you let me. I'm very excited. This short that I wrote, it's called Going Places. It's about a girl who's leaving her hometown, and so is that song, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, it's,
Yes.
it reminds me of when I first moved to LA and that feeling of like, oh, where am I? What am I doing? I'm on my own.
Yeah.
So that's how I hear it. Where did the song come from? From your little
I
brain?
did write it when I first moved to LA. So we're living the same life. It also where am I? I'm on my own. I think there were a few points where, I mean, the chorus comes definitely from the fact that I moved to LA with friends and a partner, and still it was like, oh, like I'm alone in my car. I'm the one who's doing this. And I don't know, there's something about maybe not just the move, but the move to like LA to like do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
Big city,
say
big
some more.
dreams.
Yes, big dreams.
Totally, totally. No, I love that. To not reveal too much about the film, it's gonna play at the end of the film.
Mhm.
The credits will roll over it. Um, and it was actually Peyton, my boyfriend, also the director of this short film, who I think it was him who was like, "What if you used this song?" Because we were thinking about what to put at the end. We both love your music. And he was thinking about it. And then I listened to it again in that context. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, okay, yay.
Yes.
It's so good.
And like
Shout
the
out Peyton, thanks
concept.
for the work.
Shut up, Peyton. No, it genuinely gives me chills to think about hearing the repetition of It's Just Me while seeing names of people who are helping me with this thing that I made, like, that gives me chills to think about.
Huge.
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Juxtaposition.
because I felt very alone when I moved here, and the fact that I'm making art about it now when I don't feel that way anymore feels
Yes.
exciting.
It's exciting to have so many people that you know working hard on something that's so important to you, and the realization that going out and doing the dream is definitely in some ways, it is just you, like, you have to soldier on and forward, but, like, also, you don't do anything by yourself.
Right,
Yeah,
right, and nothing can happen solely from my own actions, you know?
yeah. As much as I think, like, when I was first writing this, I probably was like, "It's just me, and one day I'm gonna sing." One day, where was I? "I'm just gonna sing on the streets of Disneyland, and someone's gonna find me." I don't know, or, like, City Walk,
Yeah. Just a
where
city walk busker, you know?
just a City Walk busker, and, no, it's, making art that you really care about with people that you care about, slowly.
Totally, very
Mhm.
slowly. It takes time.
Very long.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about with this song, and we'll talk about it more as we go through the songs of the album, because I feel like this pops up a few times.
Yeah.
We have some repetition. That
Yes.
phrase, "It's just me," over and over again. But I
Yes.
feel like what's so cool to me about repetition in your music is that it's so fueled by emotion. And I
Yeah.
think also like the production in all of these songs where this repetition happens really supports that in such a beautiful way. Does the repetition just happen in your brain and you're like, this is how it's gonna be? Or like, how do you get there?
I feel like this is something I'm, like, practicing at the moment for, the release show, which when this is out, it'll already have happened, but because I'm doing all the songs together, I'm noticing how often I do that, and it's just me and a lot of the songs on the album. I think, honestly, I find a phrase that feels like it really connects with the core of what I'm trying to process and what I'm trying to say, and I can't find another way around how to express myself emotionally and the best way to do it. Where, like, if I have a chorus where I'm writing out the whole thing, you're giving new ideas, you're telling more of a story. Where, like, I think there are a lot of places in this song in particular and in the album where it's like you bump up to that phrase and you're just stuck. So you repeat it, but it means something different every time. And I also think, like, since a lot of this album and a lot of It's Just Me, like, a lot of these songs are trauma processing. So I do feel like singing and saying those words over and over again, I bet that means something to my brain. I
Absolutely. It has to.
Right.
I
It's
don't know like the science behind it, but I did have an acting teacher in college who, shout out Timothy Douglas, he would say a lot of the same notes to us. And
Mhm.
he one time said, I know I say this to you all the time, but each time your brain hears it differently.
Yes.
And he was like, it's always working on you when you're not even thinking about it. Like having heard something like that or said something like that in a song, right? It's still
Yes.
working on you constantly. And so the next time you come up to it, even if you're still stuck, like you said,
Yeah.
it there's still something different there.
Yes.
And I feel like that really comes out in this song in particular, but also in one of my other favorite songs on the album, which we'll get to.
Okay. I'm excited. I but for the end for this one, I'm happy that you noticed and clocked that, and I think that that's, yeah, repetition is big, and I'm happy it comes across.
Also, like, I say similar things in my brain to myself all the time, whether
Yeah.
they're positive or negative. They should be more positive, but I'm very good
It
at getting in a cycle of saying the same negative things to myself over and over again, so
yeah,
it's real. It's human, I think.
it is real and human. I think a lot of my songs, what they end up being are, like, meditations and cyclical thinking on like a moment, like even as this song as a whole. So I feel like the lyrics and everything around it all surrounds a sort of specific moment, and then that repetition is always the core. I should do affirmations that way.
No,
I should
that's real.
song.
Yeah. I need more affirmations in my life. My friend, um, actually helped me come up with a ton of affirmations, and it
Ooh,
was, like, the best call ever. Like, we hopped on a call for 45 minutes, and she was like, "I'm gonna help you make these specific affirmations." I haven't been doing them as much as I should, but
there's always a should. Do you take the negative things and turn them into affirmations? How do you find those affirmations?
yeah, that was a lot of it. She talked
Yeah,
about, like, what's something that we, like, went from, like, fears to, like, she was like, "Okay, what's scary to you about this? Like, what's the outcome that you're afraid of?" And then, like,
yeah.
turning it into the opposite of that.
Ooh,
Or
I
being,
love that.
like, more neutral of, like, "This is okay."
I like that.
Well, should we move on to the album?
I would love to.
Things You Know as Normal.
Yes.
Beautiful title.
Thank you.
Um, Before we get into it song by song, what was your process for writing the album as a whole?
So this album is like behemoth monster. I've been working on it for like 5 or 6 years. I would say that my process was different every time I approached it again after giving up, because I think I gave up on this album like 3 or 4 times, and also music like 3 or 4 times while I was writing this. It's and I'll say it's a concept album about how my perspective shifts through processing like a trauma, and the end of a relationship. Um, and afterwards, in these past 5 years, I've moved. I got, sick. I was with my parents for, like, a year. The first few songs were written when I was, like, living in my friend's garage, crazy, with my dog. It was sort of just, like, whenever I was compelled to write one and it felt like it fit in with this story and this narrative I had in my head of processing, I was like, "Ooh, this processing one fits in with this group." So, because of the nature of it, I was at a lot of different places throughout, um, and it was really just like, I would vomit all my thoughts, and I would be like, "Oh, I can put it in this box." If that makes sense. Is that an okay answer?
No, that makes total sense. No, it was a beautiful answer. And
Okay.
I think what's so cool about this album as a whole for me is the story aspect of it. Like, it all leads into the next so beautifully. Like, it is such a, like, grief processing arc.
Yay. I'm really happy you feel that.
Totally. It's like I'm like, first of all, everybody who's listening should listen to the album first and then come back to this because we're gonna go through it song by song. But listen to it top
That
to
makes
bottom. There are
Yeah.
people I don't know how. There are people who I've talked to who are like, even for a new album, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I listened to it on shuffle." Sorry, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
That is one of my pet peeves. If you're
Yeah.
listening to an album for the first time, a whole album, listen to it top to bottom. There is a reason.
Usually it's intentional.
Right.
If someone's taking that long to put it together. This one,
Exactly.
it's hella super intentional. I put out an album when I was, like, 18 under a different name that was like, ooh, I was, like, thinking about the vibes and everything, but this one's actively, like, kept switching 2 back and forth because I was like, I don't know which one is farther along in the emotional processing.
Yeah,
So, yeah, if you have it on shuffle, I won't be mad at you, but also
I will.
don't. But also Sarah will, and she's gonna come get you.
Yeah. No, but it's just you have to listen this specifically, you really have to listen to it top to bottom because it tells
Yes,
such a great story. I'm
thanks.
curious which 2 you were flipping.
I do you know what? I'm gonna pull up my not that I've been working on this for 5 years, but I'm gonna pull it up so
No,
I have them
please.
together. The 2 that I was flipping, which we'll get here when we get here, but it was between Your Wake and Orange Song.
Mm,
Because I think of Your Wake as being a big, like, emotional shift moment,
yeah.
and I wasn't sure if Orange Song lived in the before Your Wake universe or after, and I decided it was after, even though it was a weirdly early song that I wrote. But those were my 2 flips.
No, I love that. Wait, that's cool. Okay, we're gonna start with Dreamer.
Oh,
Beautiful album opener.
thank you.
I'm gonna say beautiful like 20,000 times because this whole album is beautiful. Like that is the word that I feel like
Thank you, I'll never get tired of
it
it. That's very
is.
sweet.
So I will say it. So where do we start at the top of this album with Dreamer?
Dreamer, I wanted this to be the setting for everything because it's not, like, super deep in any of the relationship aspects or talking specifically about trauma or talking specifically about anything other than, like, internally what your vibe is when you're broken down. And sort of the piece that was most important to me, which is, like, my creative self and myself and losing connection with that. So Dreamer, I recorded these vocals when I was feeling it, like the moment I wrote this song, I think it was in 2021. And so the vocals you're hearing are baby me, 21-year-old me. And I wanted to keep those because it felt right to
Love.
have baby me sing them. And damn, I mean, this one's sad as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
Can I curse?
Yeah, please.
This one was truly, I had someone say to me, you just don't like, you don't have the fire. And I was like, damn, that's true. And so I wrote this love song to the optimist and the dreamer and the believer who wasn't really talking to me at that point. We didn't really have a relationship. Um, so that's my sad, sad opener. Do you have any thoughts about, because I have Shh. Read the script of the short film and no
Yeah.
spoilers. But I was wondering if you
Please
had any
talk about
thoughts about this song specifically with your script, because I have thoughts and feelings about
Oh,
it.
totally. This was the one. I'm selfish, so I did a listen through of the album, like, thinking about my short, and this just immediately hit me so hard. I was like, "Oh, fuck."
Yes.
Like, yeah. Um, and I think I related to it. I loved that you talked about, the the creativity, like, losing the
For sure.
spark, because I think for a while, that's, like, how I felt when I first moved here.
Yep.
I think there's so much to be said. I mean, we could have a whole fucking hour-long conversation, I'm sure, about, like, thinking about your past self and the goals and the dreams that they had and whether or not you're achieving them and what that feels like, and dreams shifting and all of that, and, like, what adulthood is in that way. And I think it's such a beautiful there's that word, beautiful, uh,
I'll take it.
to use your word, meditation on what that feels like and needing to shift whatever it is, or feeling like you're not living up to what you had
Yes.
I can't speak. Yeah, it connects really well, I think, with the character in my short for sure, which is obviously based on me. I think she would love that song
Okay. I
for
love
sure.
it. This was also like very shortly into moving to LA as well. So we had our 2 LA creative journeys moving here and we're just feeling the exact same shit. And I kind of love
Totally.
that for us.
It is kind of magical that people can have such different experiences, but at the same time be able to relate on such a level. Like, I think to bring it into your whole album, I think so many people will be able to relate to the experiences on this. And I do think that's the magic of music and art in general, is that the specificity of whatever it is for whoever's creating it doesn't need to be there for the person consuming it,
Yeah.
but they will relate with their own specifics in their own life.
That is, like, the whole reason I do anything and what gets me really excited to wake up and make music ever. especially
Totally.
going and doing shows and having people be like, I related to this because of this, this, and this. I'm like, oh my God, that is nothing. And I love it. And I get that core. I think that's another thing too, where that repetition comes back in is like that, like usually that's something that's a little bit more like everybody can come in on it.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
need a few things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this one definitely ends with yearning for the self that has already died. And
Yeah.
that's where we're starting.
Totally. And then it immediately gets darker.
Super.
I think the transition from Dreamer into How to Be Loved is so beautiful because Dreamer is sad and like solemn, but musically it then immediately gets darker in such a good way. Cause then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, Dreamer is more hopeful
A little bit.
in a way.
Yeah.
And then we get into How to Be Loved.
Yes. Talk about cyclical. How to Be Love's, she's an oldie, but a goodie. The lyric is, "You don't know how to be loved, and I don't know how to remind you." This one was actually an assignment I had in school
Mm.
to do a repeating section over and over again.
Oh, cool.
So, that's why the form's kind of funny and weird. I remember showing it to my professor, shout out, we love, and he was like, "Oh, like, it would be nice if she, like, got out at the end."
Hmm.
And I was like, "I don't think she does. I don't think she wants to." And I remember that being a very interesting moment in writing that song, understanding that that's where I wanted it to be and end. But that's the vibe of it is sort of, you have Dreamer, why is her soul dead? And then you go into this and you're like, "Hmm,
Perhaps this.
perhaps this. Perhaps I see some souls dying in this part, in this bit."
Yeah. This song has been out for a hot second.
Yeah.
What have people's reactions to the song been? Like, has anything that people have said, like, really moved you or made you really happy that this is out in the world?
I have gotten some reactions. I had to go back in my brain for a second because it was released a while ago, and I feel like everything gets a little bit more attention when it comes out first. I have gotten a few, like, Instagram DMs from people who struggle with mental health and situations like this, and that is why I'm doing it. And this one specifically I find interesting because it isn't a song that's like, "Get out of there, girl. It's a bad vibe, but you can do it. And fuck that man." It's a lot of like how everything hurts and I don't know how to move. And it's sort of a meditation on being stuck and how it feels to be stuck. And I'm really glad this is out here because I feel like even if you aren't girl boss getting out, like, you deserve to feel seen, and maybe something like this could help you process
Totally.
and understand that if you really see yourself in this, like, "Oh, shit," like, very clearly, the vibes are not chill. So if you identify with it, I think that it does take a moment to be like, "Okay, this" like, it shifts a little bit. When I wrote this song, I was like I'm writing this about a friend of a friend, and what if they went through it? So I think that's funny. I won't say much more on that.
But everything takes time. Like, I think that's what, again, that's what the album to me is so representative of, that everything
Yeah.
takes time. Things take time to process. You can't just be like, oh, this is bad. Let me
Yeah.
leave. Like, that's not how life works.
Mm-mm.
I think this song is so cognizant of that. And I love that you said that it's for the people who are stuck
Yeah. Thank
because
you.
that's real.
Yeah, it's real. Lord knows I have been there, and I like, maybe in different ways, I get stuck again. Like, you never get unstuck for good. Like, you're always gonna be back in different situations, and you gotta damn, it's a battle getting out.
Next song is Slay the Beast.
True. She goes a little hand in hand with How to Be Loved, it just in the stuck vibes.
I was tempted to write in my notes for this one of my favorites, but then I would write that for so many of them, so I was like, "I can't write that."
I'm happy to hear it. I'll take it anyway.
Um, I feel like it's the other side of the coin from How to Be Loved
Yeah.
in a great way. My favorite line in this song is, "When I sleep, I need something playing. I can't rest when I get myself alone."
Yeah.
That's real. As somebody
So
who
true.
still always listens to things when I'm going to sleep, always have to put on my little podcast.
Shout out to the McElroys for me. I never hear anything. Their voices are always there.
I love that. In an interesting way, it feels less stuck to me
Yes.
because it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna do this. I just can't right now.
Yep.
And I think that I relate to that a lot in for so many reasons. But I think in terms of my short, it's
Mhm.
easy to feel stuck when making those big life decisions.
Yes.
And I think the character in my short gets very scared about this big move and about leaving.
Yep.
And I think she's very tempted to be like, okay, let me just put it off. Let me just put it off.
Yes.
Um, and it's very easy to put off the things that we're afraid of before actually tackling them. I think sometimes that's a good thing. Like, I think sometimes our bodies know, I can't deal with this right now. I can't handle it,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
but I can down the road. So I
Yes.
think that it's a nice mixture of like fear of confronting something and
Mhm.
also maybe your body protecting you.
Completely. You nail on the head. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it other than, I mean,
Beautiful.
yes, I think the body is definitely part of it as well.
The body keeps the score.
She is keeping a score. She keeps doing that.
Yep. But I do think I forget who I was talking to about this, but we were talking about anxiety and how, I mean, obviously, sometimes it's so unhelpful,
Mhm.
but sometimes the core of it is just like your body trying to protect you.
Completely. That's a lot of stuff that I'm working on in therapy right now is like maybe opening up some of those boxes that didn't want to be open for a long time. And probably speaking of repetition, the thing that I'm repeating in Slay the Beast is I don't feel anything. The snapshot for me of this specific song is knowing that there's something under the water and being like, okay, okay. And my body's not ready and we're not ready. We know it's there and we're going to get there when we get there.
That's also such a mature reaction, I think, because that is life. Like, we can't deal with everything all at once.
Mm-mm.
And to be able to be like, all right, this thing's there.
I think that a lot of these songs are more like, I think I could learn a lot from this song.
That's real.
There's snapshots of moments where sometimes I've felt these things and sometimes I identify with the maturity of those moments and sometimes, damn, it's hard and I want to get there and I want to get her done. Can I be healed completely? Can I do a speed run actually?
Silver Lake Reservoir interlude,
Yeah, she's short.
but devastating.
And thank you. That's what I'm always going for. Just nightmare gutting. This one feels pretty simple. This is Break Up. Break Up the song.
We love the Silver Lake Reservoir.
We do love the Silver Lake Reservoir. I didn't break down on the exact reservoir, but I was near it. So I don't mean to kill the dream. For but I wrote this when I was living in my friend's garage and that was in Silver Lake. I have a favorite lyric in this that I've like
Yeah.
talked about with people recently. I fight the nausea when the morning comes. I just have a very like it feels like a great snapshot of time because I was writing this like after a big life shift event and I would get up in the morning and I'd be like, oh, remember everything. And then I'd be like, I'm going to throw up. And I was talking to someone recently who also had like a similar big life shift and just like waking up and having that grief. And so, yeah, Silver Lake Reservoir, the song about waking up and feeling like you're gonna vom.
Definitely. I have also had a breakdown along the Silver Lake Reservoir.
Oh my God.
I could tell you more specifics sometime, but I opened a letter that I received
Okay.
alongside the Silver Lake Reservoir, and I opened it there and I read it and I sobbed in my car.
There's some energy coming off of that. I live in Minneapolis now, and I was talking to someone at a party about how there are like tons of lakes here. It's the city of 11,000, I don't know how many lakes. There's a shit ton of lakes here, and we were talking about how each lake has its own like energy and personality that it brings out.
Oh,
I
yeah,
wonder if Silver Lake Reservoir is just like teeming with breakdown.
definitely.
You should cry.
I mean, I've never heard anybody be like, "I went to Echo Park Lake and I cried,"
Mm-mm.
you know?
Silver Lake's got that nefarious energy,
Yeah,
but it's
and then you
good.
can walk it out. You can walk
Walk it
around
out.
the reservoir and just
It's
walk
here
it
for
out.
processing.
I mean, I had that in Boston too, like, I have a tree in the Boston Public Garden that I deem my crying tree because it's where I would go to
So
cry
good.
in between
Yeah,
classes or after class or whatever.
I love it.
It's important to have, like, a thing in nature where you process shit.
It is. Completely. I love the crying tree. I can't imagine what the Silver Lake Reservoir has seen, even if
Oh,
it's just the 2 of us on a call.
for sure, for sure.
It's probably a lot.
Over It is next.
Another classic breakup goodie. This one feels less trauma and more heartbreak, and more just like, "Damn, do you even care?"
It's like all the what ifs, right? Like, looking back at everything, reflecting on everything, and being like, "Oh, did I see this wrong?
Yes.
Was I seeing this in the wrong way?"
Yeah.
And I think that listening to this, thinking about my short was interesting because there is a betrayal that occurs in the
There
short,
is.
from a mentor. And a lot of adulthood has been looking at these people that I really based myself off of and like my values and realizing that they're not who I thought I was when I was 14, 15, 16. And
Yes.
I think I relate to that, to this song in that way.
I do think this song is a big, like it's not just like, "Oh, was I seeing that in the wrong way?" It's also like, "Oh, what were you like when you did this? What do you mean by that?" This is definitely much more of a, "Okay, well, I saw it wrong, but, like, can you answer for the differences?" Where, like, that other person involved is a big part of it.
And I think in processing things like that, it's really easy to be like, okay, well, I want the answer. Like, tell me how you felt, like wanting to, whether it's a breakup, whether it's like a friendship ending, or
Mhm.
wanting the answer of, oh, how did you feel? Where were
Yes.
you coming from when we experienced all these things that I experienced in this one way that you must have experienced in a different way?
Yes.
What was that?
I think quite honestly, I was having that spiral and I just wrote all of them down. And it was a song of, "Hey, answer me." So yeah, you said it perfectly.
And it's a great song too because back to that repetition, it grows so beautifully, and becomes more chaotic is how I would phrase it.
Thank
But
you. I love chaotic. This one was one where I was cognizantly like, I want to repeat this because it means something different to me every time.
yeah.
And every chorus before then is really small and just a nothing burger. Each time before it's just kind of like matter of fact. And that's like how it's said. So having a moment to have the actual emotional impact in that build was sort of my goal.
Well, you succeeded.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad.
Next we have Your Wake.
The title is from this song. Fun
Oh my
fact.
gosh, yes. I wrote title lines. Woo!
The title lines, woo! This song feels like the core of a lot of it for a lot of reasons. And it does make me think of your short film because this feels like a trek. This song feels
Yeah,
like the journey. Do you know what I mean?
definitely. I love the opening of it because it feels like church to me,
Okay, I love it.
which
Like an
is a
organ.
crazy thing to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it like toys and plays with the title, like You're Awake. Like it plays with this
Yeah.
grieving of something in such a cool way. And I think that's why I'm like, it's giving church, like it's giving funeral.
Wow. Okay. I love
Thing
that.
to
It's
say.
giving church.
Um,
Yes.
but I don't have like a deep church connection other than through music is what I would
Yeah.
say. So that I think is really cool. And then I did write down those lines where the title pops up. I live in your wake where people don't treat me how I thought. It's funny the strange things you know as normal that are not. Can you talk about the process of deciding that that would be the title?
Yeah, for sure. I, for so long, had this album written down as Orange Album, which
Mm,
that's the next song is Orange Song, which I think is another big core moment. But when I got to the aesthetics of everything, I was like, this album doesn't feel orange. It wasn't much deeper than like, okay, this working title doesn't feel right, and I know that there's something deeper in here. I shout out to Manny Mora, who helped me with a
yeah.
lot of the creative processing of this stuff, but I, like, wrote down a bunch of possible titles and, like, asked her about it and threw them back and forth, and my parents too. Anyone who'd, like, been through this process with me, but Manny helped a lot. Your Wake as a song, what it goes through is like life after emotional abuse. So like that first line about the eggshells where you're walking on eggshells when they don't exist anymore. Um it's just like the juxtaposition of like the tumultuous experience where you have all of this learned nightmare stuff and like your future and what that actually looks like and how do those blend together and what is that in between, what is your brain thinking in that moment. The visual I have in my brain about this song is like I say I live in your wake in settling dust and shrapnel trash. So, like, I visualize, like, the wake of, like a bomb, like a crazy explosion, and I imagine this character or myself, like, climbing out of a crater into the desert and looking out, and it's just nothing for forever, and you just gotta start walking towards it. So that moment, the things you know as normal that are not, I felt like it encompassed the chaos that is sort of the beginning of this album and before, and where your mind lives in it and what you think and how it feels to be the character or person living through how to be loved, right? Versus like things you know as normal and then learning that maybe that's not the way it should be or understanding what actually happened to you. So
Yeah.
it felt like a good focusing in point for like what encompasses the whole spectrum of before and after and processing. And I think things you know as normal, the concept of processing what happened to you ended up being the most impactful way for me to say that. Also, I think it sounds cool.
No, it totally does.
Thank you. I hope that
Yeah,
made sense.
that makes so much sense
Mhm.
because it is such like a meeting point
Mhm.
of, like you said, everything that this character, you have been through so far.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's coming next, and you don't know where you're gonna go from there.
Yeah.
And you're carrying everything that you've experienced already, and that's like you can't just because the relationship, whatever, is over,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that the things that you and your body learned just go away.
Yes. Y I think that that's the entirety of the rest of it is learning how to exist and become more and keep going when you feel really, like, sort of dragged behind or affected by something that lives in the past. There is a little moment here at the end where I use my first you can tell I'm a musical theater kid because I use a little I use a little musical moment that comes later in the album, the repetition of "I Go On."
Yeah,
I think it's very hopeful in this, that it's like, "I live in your wake and also I'm gonna keep going." And then there's, like, some really cool, like, primal auto-tuned yells that Joshua Evan Lee is the vocal producer that I worked with, and he was like, "Let's try it," and he edited them so fun. But it definitely feels like it's those 2 things, the concept of despite everything, you move on, and you go, and you go, and you keep existing, on top of "I'm screaming." Yikes. Doesn't feel good.
definitely. Yeah, like you were saying earlier in terms of relating it to the short,
Yeah.
when you were talking about that picture of, like, the character you climbing out of the crater
Yeah.
and just seeing nothing,
Mhm.
quite literally, like, this character then drives across the country. It's like, that's
Yes.
exactly what she's looking out on.
Well, and I'm thinking of there is this betrayal moment for your character where suddenly the inside of her mind is like, "I can't do it."
Yeah.
And it is about that moment where it was because of interactions that she had with another person. She doubts herself. She doubts her future. She completely rethinks everything. It isn't reality. Things you know as normal that are not like, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you get up and you get to keep going and you get to leave the place where people make you think that shit about you.
There was a conversation that I had with my friend. I was talking through the short. It was kind of after I sort of figured it out what it was finally gonna be. Let me find this quote that she read me because
Oh, I'm so excited.
it was really good. In this conversation, she was like, "Oh, I had this quote pop up on my" she has, like, a widget on her phone where, like, quotes pop up every day,
Love it.
and she said, "What you worry about other people saying about you is just a reflection of how you think about yourself."
Yee. Yeah,
And I went, "That."
that
That.
one. That one completely.
And I think that that is such a universal feeling, because that's definitely, like, the place that I was writing this short from. I think that must connect to, like, this story as well that you're
Yeah.
telling in this album.
I think that that's a great quote for the rest of the album and also the rest of my life and the rest of, I think, what my art is gonna look like is, okay, you're not in a situation like that anymore, but those thoughts keep coming up and keep happening, and you keep feeling those things about yourself where it's like, the change has to be internal
Yeah.
as much as this album is about external. Like, "Oh, this happened to me." I think that more the core of it is, how did my internal view of myself shift and change to deal with this situation and then be better? I don't know.
Yeah,
Process.
no, that's real.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, Orange Song. I think that's also it was interesting that you title-wise were flipping between these 2 songs, and then you were also toying with the order of those 2 songs too. That seems
Yes.
poignant.
It is poignant. I think both of these are big turning points, maybe for different reasons. Well, one thing I quite like about it is I refer to myself as an orange in the song. And so, like, I just identify with the self that I'm, like, talking about a lot in this is it's an orange.
Yeah.
So, it's Orange Album. It's about me shifting through all this personal shit. I think that it falls in line with any relationship where you fell short, or in the other person's eyes, you fell short. That's like, this song is just a reflection of, like, I don't know what about me wasn't enough, because I felt like I was trying to give everything, but, damn, I guess that's how it is. You know?
Yeah.
There I go, going gone. I'll never know what you wanted, it was probably just something else. It is sort of a leaving it lie in a similar way that your wake is, like,
Yeah.
I'm leaving the situation, but
Yeah.
they're saying it in different ways.
When you were talking about like feeling like in the other person's eyes you're falling short,
Mhm.
that's the thing about this song that really stuck out to me. And I feel like, not to generalize, but I feel like we're taught as women to like do anything to appease a male partner.
Yar.
And
Yes,
I
and
felt
yes.
that a lot from this. It feels like there's a lot of pressure for, again, generalizing, for women, particularly in heterosexual relationships, that if the relationship ends, they have failed. I very much resonated with that aspect of it. And like the relationship being over and being like, "Ugh, well, what did I do wrong? What could I have done to save it?"
Yes.
That was really sticking out to me when I listened to it this go around.
What I just have to say, you talking about that is making me think of the song. Do you know Angel by Casey Musgraves?
I don't actually.
That's well, and she has her lovely Falling in Love album, which is fire. And then the Divorce album is sadder. So if this song is me being like, what did you want? I don't know what you wanted. I gave all of myself, and I guess that's not what it was. The Casey Musgrave song Angel is like, well, if I was an angel, then you wouldn't have to cry and we would never get upset. Like, basically,
Oh,
if I was perfect, then it would be okay.
yeah.
Um, and sort of what you were saying just made me think of that song. I think Casey Musgraves is a genius, and that's a great, fun parallel. One last like tie into your wake. I think that maybe this is the things you know as normal that are not. Like full rejection of the self. Full I need you to be different and I don't really love you for what you are. I think that's sort of what I want to imply.
Yeah.
Or that's how I feel in my bones. And anyone else can take it however they want to.
My last question about this is oranges, limes, and lemons. What do they mean
Yes.
to you, and why did you frame the song in this way?
I remember showing this to a friend and she laughed because she thought it was a joke. I won't out her. I think that the reason I framed this was, like, pretty fresh. The first lyrics I wrote were the first ones in the song, and I felt like a straight up shower orange, like being torn to shreds. Like, I felt like I was being gutted from my core, and I was like, "Man, I feel like an orange being gutted from my core." What if I wrote a song about that? And I think that limes and lemons, when someone doesn't love you for who you are, they do love you. Like, they just want you to change it was just if you could be like this. There's, like, limes and lemons is like, talk about the limes and the lemons you need. Talk about the limes and lemons of the past. I think limes and lemons are just not oranges.
Yeah, definitely not.
They're not. They're citrus.
Right.
But I think the vibe of going with that was kind of to allude to with the metaphor of like of rejection and being an orange in a relationship where someone's like, "Oh, I love a lemonade. I want to squeeze a bit of you over a taco, and I'm just wondering why you aren't a fucking lime.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. Like, I'm getting too into the metaphor. Oranges are something that you eat by
Mhm.
itself quite often. Limes and
Yes.
lemons, you don't see people, like, chopping that shit up and eating it, you
No.
know?
Yeah.
At least typically. And I think that's interesting too, because it's like if you as a human have an orange and you're like, but I want something else, I want something else. Once you
Yeah.
get those other things, oh, it turns out they're really sour. So it feels like to me like, oh, the grass is always greener, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But then sometimes it ends up sour, like limes and lemons are.
Like limes and lemons are. And hey, maybe that person needs a lime or a lemon. Maybe they just want to
That's
down a bunch
true.
of lemons.
That's true.
But I think I also liked it just in that, like, oranges are good. Like, I wanted it to be clear that there's value. And I know that there's value in myself and who I am,
Totally.
even though I'm being made to feel that way.
Yeah.
That it's not.
And it's beautiful that you saw yourself that way and you didn't see yourself as like a lemon. Which,
Yes.
like, sorry, lemons do have value, but, like, I don't know, I think that's also cool too, that within this world and within this, like, tearing down of yourself,
Yeah.
you're still like, "But I'm an orange."
Yes.
I think that's cool and telling.
I'm happy that there was, like, a little seed of it. I think a lot of the times when I write these songs, like, maybe I have more insight or there's, like, a little subconscious bit, and I think that that was the subconscious bit.
Yeah,
Like, I think I was like, "I feel like a gutted orange. Let me talk about this." And there was a subconscious bit that was like, "And
but
you
I'm
are sweet and you are whole."
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Beautiful. Mhm.
Okay, that house,
That house.
a bop.
Thank you.
Always a
Uh,
bop.
always it's giving country.
Yeah,
It's got that banjo.
yeah.
Oh, she's angry in this one. This one's rage. This one's rage and blame a little bit. Sometimes you gotta live there.
Oh, totally.
Talk about cyclical. I think that the rest of these are processing after and outside. This one, it talks about like an exact specific situation repeating. But like once you get out of a situation like that, this stuff happens all the time to everyone.
Mhm.
It feels like it's never gonna end.
Yeah, the lyric I wrote down was, "You swore up and down I was the poison in your well. How come your face stayed the exact same shade of green?" That's like it's such a beautiful, beautiful, uh,
Thank you, Paul.
phrasing of such an ugly thing. It's so specific and it's so visceral to me, those lyrics.
Thank you.
And I
Uh,
love the rage.
Thank you. It
It's
was I
important.
needed it.
It's
Yeah.
necessary.
I was so nervous about that line because it's kind of weird and it's a little bit corny. And I think whichever ones are kind of weird and corny end up being my favorite ones.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you like that, the well and the poison in the well.
No, it's
Uh,
great.
yeah, I
It's
almost
really
cut that
great.
one. I'm glad I did not.
And it's cool because it's like as this character is growing, you can look back and be like, well, that person's still the same. So it wasn't me. And I think that's like a cool realization in this journey to have of like, oh, this thing that you said isn't actually true. Things you know as normal that are not.
Yes. I think that this is first step of processing that. It's anger and also a lot of joy.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
All right, camping.mov.
Woof. Yeah, crazy turn. That was another one that switched back and
Mm.
forth. I think this one is important to have right before Sister Sister, which is the next one, spoilers.
Well, if they've listened to the album, they know.
Yeah, and they know, which they should have.
You better. From top to bottom. Okay, not on shuffle.
Not on shuffle. You coming back in here and being like, what are they talking about? Um, I shuffled between Camping.mov and Sister Sister because I think that vibes wise, It's more fun to have like two of the upbeat songs and then bring her back down for camping.mov. But emotionally, I think that you, after that anger and joy, it's the realization of like, okay, I loved you also,
Yeah.
which this is sort of the admitting the weakness, or like, I think camping.mov is about like, you've got a no contact relationship. You're over it. You can say all this shit, and then also the bridge is
Uh-huh.
kind of what I hold on to in this one.
Yeah.
I've tried to smother it cold in its sleep. Like, I would love to kill murder the part of me that loved you so much, but there was a part of me that believed every word that you said and loved you so much, and you can't just kill and end those pieces.
Yeah.
I thought that that self-reflection was important before sort of that understanding. Like, you have to accept and look at that in yourself before you can accept and look at that in other people, which I think is sister, sister.
Yeah. I wrote down a lot, and I wonder if it is because of the switch. Like, I wonder if that was part of it because it feels, in terms of like place in the album, it feels similar to Silver Lake Reservoir in that it feels like a transition point. Like, obviously,
Interesting.
it's like a full song, but to me, it
Yeah.
like served a similar purpose
Yeah.
in the album of like, okay, we're going to the next thing, which is not to say that like this isn't like important or I didn't resonate with things in it. It reminds me
It is.
also something that you just said in terms of the order reminds me of what I think is one of the great breakup albums of all time, Red by Taylor Swift.
And it is.
And it reminds me of that in terms of like, you go from, I think it's, I Knew You Were Trouble
Mhm.
to All Too Well to 22.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the same, like, yes,
It's huge.
yes,
Now I feel so much more secure in this order.
for sure.
I've been
Because like,
compared to Red. And I love that.
because like, I remember listening to Red as like, what, that came out in like 2012 or whatever. I was 13. I hadn't
Mhm.
been through a breakup. I didn't know shit about any of those things. Red Taylor's version came out 6 months after my first breakup, and I listened to that and
Good.
I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yes.
That's real." And again, listening from top to bottom instead of on shuffle,
That's good.
like you feel the waves of it all. And I think that is what really works about this order for me. Is
Yeah.
like you're feeling the waves.
It goes from a definite like
Yes,
energy.
which
Yeah.
is real.
Yeah.
And I think there's such like a poignant thing too of like I deleted everything except for this video. To me, it's like, okay, in the daytime you can have all these like I'm angry, I'm whatever, like fuck you. And then at night it's like, okay, this is what's left.
Yes.
That's what it feels like to me. I wrote down no burning embers, no could have been, no contact, nothing, which is good. Like I love that. And that's also like within the story of the song, like referencing to the friend that you talk about who has an ex that they're still in contact with.
Yes.
And then you say something about like having the black and white feels lucky, which I think just in the context of the rest of the album is like so, I don't know, it's so fascinating to be like, and here's all this pain, but I feel lucky at the same time.
Yeah. And this is the small admission of like, it is black and white. Supper.
Right.
Except for that one video and that
Right.
one like little voice. And I wish I could just kill her dead. But
Yeah.
you have to find some amount of kindness. Yeah, well, that was a real conversation that I had with a friend who was having a messy breakup. And I think in some ways, it is lucky to have that space. But I think then you go too far in one direction, and you're like, Well, it's fine because all there is hate, and all hate is the only thing that's ever lived, which is not true.
Yeah. We love a pendulum swing.
We love a pendulum swing.
When I talked earlier about, like, adulthood being realizing that all these people you looked up to are different and whatever,
Yeah.
I forget to be kind to the girl who believed every word you said to me.
Yes.
That's real. Because I think it's really easy to look back and be like, "Wow, how did I believe that all? Like, how could I be so naive to think that this was the truth?" But it's not that girl's fault for thinking that and for believing that.
Well, and also, if it is that girl's fault, then you never have to fall for it again. Where, like,
Yeah,
it feels better if it's completely in your control, and the truth is, we won't.
it's
It isn't
not.
her fault,
Yeah,
and yeah, you said that beautifully.
thanks. Well, you wrote it beautifully.
Oh, well, thank you. Uh,
Sister, sister.
bruh. This one was a cyclical processing one for sharks. I literally had a dream about a woman reaching for my hand and begging for help.
Mhm.
That's why that's in there.
Yeah.
Lyrically, I'm really proud and excited about this one. This enters the Greek phase of the album because, like, there's a few where
Yes.
I do a couple of, like, this has got narcissus in it.
Yeah.
But I I am proud of this just in being able to keep, like, the weird other woman feelings and then internalize misogyny and then, like, I hate this and I care about this and also, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good just sitting there and ruminating on feelings and not saying much about what those feelings mean
Yeah.
is my hope for it.
Yeah. It's I literally wrote that it's impossible to choose one lyric to talk about with this one because I think lyrically I literally wrote, "I think lyrically it is so amazing and smart and complex." I think
I'll
and it's
take it.
exactly what you just said. It doesn't you don't feel the need to, like, apologize for any of these feelings that
Mm-mm.
are expressed, which I think is beautiful, and that's, I think, what makes it so honest.
Yay. Thank
Um,
you.
and yeah, it has such a nice connection to that house, and I think grapples with such, like, a tricky feeling and also shows growth at the same time
Yeah.
from that character, and maybe that's why having camping.mov, like, between the 2 really works.
I was, like, worried about separating them because that house and Sister Sister do feel like little twins.
Totally, totally.
But yeah, I'm glad that it works. I'm glad it works. I think I might have a favorite lyric if I can say.
Please.
The one that I feel proud of that I go back to is, meat markets and battlefields before he
Mm,
came and sliced us up. I quite like thinking about fighting actively, like war and arguments versus, like, objectification,
yeah,
and I think that that brings together the woman of it and the emotional abuse vibe of it, and that makes me proud of that little lyric.
yeah, that shit's good.
Thank you.
That's another bop for sure.
There are not a lot of bops on this one. I would say there's a lot of woofs, but yes, this one is one of the bops if there are bops.
Yeah, agree. Okay, back from our hiatus that we didn't mean to happen, that
But it
nobody knows
didn't.
happened because it
Nobody
just
knows.
so there you go. But we're gonna talk about Heracles,
Okay, yay.
which is my favorite. It's always been my favorite since I heard it. I'm obsessed with it. And I was thinking about it because I feel like I'm really drawn to like I love the whole album, but I'm so drawn to these last few songs on the album. And not to bring up Taylor Swift again, but I do feel like it's because I am slightly more an Evermore girly than I am a folklore girly.
Interesting. Go on.
I think people I feel like people talk about, like, the difference between folklore and Evermore being more of, like, a processing
Yeah,
after the fact,
sure, sure.
and I was thinking about it and I was like, I do veer slightly more Evermore than I do folklore, and
Yeah,
maybe that's why I'm veering toward these songs slightly more than earlier in the album, if that makes sense.
because they're more processing after the fact.
Yeah, I think that might be why, but I don't know.
I do also I think that you can kinda tell because this was written over, like, 5 years. I think. It was written over at least 3 years,
Yeah,
and those earlier songs are earlier songs, and these later ones are like, I get more lyrically dense and excited, and I think my new stuff is more lyrically dense and excited, and, um, you are a writer, girl. Like,
I suppose so.
I think that these later ones also, are more mature lyrically because I am older. So
Totally.
there's that.
But it's
Um,
also like and you've been processing
yeah.
too. So I think it's easier to also like when you're going through the thing,
Yeah.
it's like you're gonna write what you're gonna write. But hindsight's always 2020. Like I think it's easier to write about a lot of things, just like it's easier to talk about things after the fact.
Yes. This definitely shifts into, like, Heracles versus the other songs. I mean, I love all of these songs and they each have a place, but it definitely is like, um "Aw, you didn't want me. Why? I don't know." And, "Man, I'm mad, and I'm glad that I left," into, like, "I'm thinking about myself in the context of the community around me." Like, it's, like, definitely goes into maybe some more interesting processing and, like, the self-insert. I definitely see myself as part of it more so, and it's, like, a lot more identity type vibes,
Yeah.
which I think is only a 2020 hindsight type situation.
Yeah, totally. Like, this is what I'm talking about too in terms of story structure. Like, even just listening to this song on its own, I feel like you would be able to tell, like, where this would fit in the album, if that makes sense, or, like, where it would be, that it would be later on the album slash
Yes.
the story, because there is, like, this sense of removal in a
Yeah.
way. Like,
Yes.
obviously, it's still, like, processing and going through, right? But there's, like, something you say at one point, like, I forget what the full lyric is, but, like, what you said a century ago.
Yes.
And so it's, like, that space, that time,
Yeah.
and how you process it later after the fact.
It does all the ancient language it feels ancient. Well, and once you've processed a ton afterwards, it feels so much longer. I think that, talking about the album Camping.mov or talking about that transitional period, I think that's where it becomes really separate because
Yeah.
that house is really a lot of emotion and cares a lot, and then, I think after that, you step back, but Heracles is definitely a step back. I'm happy with what you said about the century. I yeah. Some of it is stuff where I feel like I'm just, writing in the moment and throwing it out there and, you bringing it up back to my attention and talking about why it makes sense and how that makes it feel emotionally is like, "Oh, yeah, cool."
You're like, "I did know what
I
I
did
was doing."
that. Yeah.
You're like, "And that was totally planned and cognizant."
What makes this song your favorite?
I think
Yeah.
the bridge is brilliant, in my opinion. Like, this is the bridge to me. I think it is so good. I typed out the whole thing. I'm not gonna say the whole thing right now. Maybe I'll insert a clip of the whole thing, but,
Sure.
like, I wrote out the whole thing. I'm like, "This yes, yes. This is this is the thing." It encapsulates so much in such a short amount of time, and, like, ending with, "But I know what I know, and I know I am not afraid of you," is such a beautiful way to, like, not that this is the end, because there are more, but it is like
Yeah.
a wrapping up of part of the journey to me, and, like, such an acceptance.
Yes. It is the phrase right after, "I know what I know, and I'm not afraid of you. I go on no matter what you do." And then the
Uh-huh.
repetition of "I go on," like, I think that gives it new context. It's like a joy and a grief every time.
Yeah,
Um, but there is a letting go there.
yeah. And to start too from a place, the first time "I go on" appears, it's "I go on, you go on, we both do."
Yes.
And then you have the repetition of "I go on, and I go on, and I go on" into the bridge, and then you have it after, and then or well, then you have the "I go on no matter what you do." Like, that
Yeah.
journey in and of itself, I love from, like, a lyrical journey perspective, a lot of songs that I love, like, have something like that that switches
Yes.
as the song goes on and as the story and the narrator is changing themselves.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of the reason why I love this song is the "I go on," because
Mhm.
it's true. No matter
Yeah,
what's going on, no matter what's happening, if you're alive, you're going on.
I know. It's beautiful and terrible,
Yeah,
and that really is a core of a lot of it. And I think that the repetition, what you're talking about, with talking about "we both do," and "no matter what you do," is, like, the letting go of, like, what that other person going on means.
yeah,
And if I have to be it's sort of like, I like, that has nothing to do with me. It's the
yeah,
slow letting go of that has nothing to do with me.
totally.
Really feels like it does.
Yeah,
But, I think that that moment was letting go of that.
yeah,
Um, brutal. It does
brutal.
feel like, this whole album is me spilling, like, my deepest, deepest guts, and you pointing at them and saying, "I see that and emotionally resonate with that," feels so crazy.
I
Like, that's
bet.
my deepest guts.
Yeah, yeah. That's, like,
Super
how
triggering.
I've felt sharing this script with people, like, the, actor who's gonna play my dad is an actor
Mhm.
that I grew up seeing in theater in my hometown for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah,
And he when I was writing it, because that character is very much based on my dad,
yeah,
um, and he is such, like, an important and specific person to me, and when I started writing it, I was like, "How am I gonna find someone to play my dad?" And I
yeah.
knew that obviously, like, just as in I'm playing myself, but I'm not playing myself, like, that was an important distinction for me in writing the piece too, of,
Mhm.
like, I wanted it to be separate enough from me, but a similar-ish journey to
Yeah,
how
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt. I also knew, okay, well, this is a fictional version of my dad, even though he is quite literally saying a couple of things are word for word what my dad has said to me,
Yes.
like, that's still a character. And when I was writing it, I thought of this actor and was like, "God, it would be such a dream if he
Mhm.
would play my dad." And I sent him the script and I sent him this, like, long email and I was like, "This is where this story is coming from, and, like, this is why I thought of you," and all this stuff. And he replied, and I forget exactly what he said, but he was like, "I would be honored to do this with you. Like, can't believe you thought of me." And
Yeah.
we had a phone call recently where he was, like, asking me questions about it and where it came from and all this stuff, and he was like, "I've read the script multiple times every time I get chills." And to hear that from him was
Yeah.
crazy and really
Yes.
cool. And I mean, there's so many things with that too, of like how I've talked about part of my adulthood has been like looking at these adults that I looked up to and how my relationship with them has shifted and things like that. Um, and to like trust someone with my script who I also looked up to, but from a
Mhm.
more separate place and have him be like, yes, was
Yes, I
crazy.
see it, and I
Yeah.
feel it whenever I read it.
Yeah.
Huge.
Was crazy. So,
Huge.
yeah, what a cool feeling for both of us to be able to have.
I'm so happy about it. It's when you make, like, such a big piece like that and work so much and put so much in it, and it's hard to know what comes across,
Yeah,
and having someone you know and trust be like, "This, and I saw it." It's like, "Oh,
totally.
I'm being seen to my deepest core of my being."
We love Heracles.
I'm
Um,
so glad.
I won't talk too much more about it, but I'm like, I could ask so many questions. Like, actually, no, I'm gonna ask one more, which
Okay,
is
let's ask. I wanna hear all of it.
why Heracles? Like, how did you come up with that like illusion analogy, whatever, however you would phrase it?
It was a Hydra. It was the Hydra 100%.
Yeah.
'Cause I had felt so tired. Like, this song was coming out of most days I am on my knees just barely scraping through. And the illusion to, like, I felt like I was taking things as they were coming, and
Yeah.
I was processing, and I was doing therapy, and I was getting a little bit better, and it just felt like there was no end. Like, every head that I cut off of this metaphorical beast of processing this was just gonna grow back with 2. So I wanted to romanticize that in some way that made me feel stronger. I feel like it waterfalled into each other, right? Where, like, then that chorus is about me wanting to romanticize it, and
Yeah.
it can't, like, you can't do, like, it's real life. And it just keeps happening. Everybody goes on, tragically, and, like, that chorus, that shifts about it, that's like, "I wish everyone could see the dragon that I'm fighting, and I wish that everybody could see that I have a halo on my head, like I'm doing good."
Yeah.
When it's really just like, I'm doing people stuff, which
Yeah.
is living.
Right.
I think that's why Heracles, I wanted to feel like I could do it, and I
Yeah.
was writing in a moment that I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I did.
And maybe that's part of the reason that I like it so much is the feeling that I get too from listening to it of like, "Oh, I can do it." And that's cool.
That's so great.
So
I'm
maybe it
so
is
happy about that.
that so maybe it is that strength that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I love that.
I'm really happy that that embodiment of strength and that description could come out of, like, when I talk about fighting and all of that stuff, and then I'm like, well, sometimes I'm on the other end and I'm a gutted animal, and sometimes I'm not doing it. Like, that is the perspective I was coming at it from. So, the fact that that strength could come out of that makes my heart happy.
Not to connect it back to the bridge, but to connect it back to the bridge, the I'll wake up every morning whether or not you want me to. There's,
Yeah,
like, such a strength in that, like, because then you go into talking about, like, fighting,
yeah.
but it's that is a fight in and of itself.
Yes,
Like, the act of going on is also a fight, and waking up
yeah,
every morning can be a fight.
yes.
So I think that's really beautiful too.
That is what I was feeling about Hydra, is, like, I kinda just, like, if I make it through this day, there's another day.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is. It's nice to romanticize it because it's hard, and I wake up every morning whether or not you want me to is a resounding and strength-filled statement. Goddamn, it's hard to get out of bed.
Yeah, it is. Woo!
Some days.
Yep.
Some days.
Some
Lot of
days,
Sundays.
some days,
Um,
Heracles too. That
Heracles
is a
too.
great transition, actually. It's like you wrote it or something.
Do you wanna know something crazy about this?
Yeah.
I was writing a different song, and then I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Oh shit, this is just Heracles again, but different." I
Wait,
was
I
writing it
love
on the
that.
piano
Yeah.
at my old job teaching little kids how to do piano and where is C. And I had a break, and so I was writing a song, and everyone started with "Some Days," and I was like, "Wow, I've just got this in my bones." And then I look back at Heracles, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But it does feel like an extension in a different way.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
also, and maybe it's the piano vibes, but when I hear that, I'm like, ah, yes, Sarah Bareilles. Ah, yes.
and I love her. Grew
I'm
up on
like,
that
and
woman.
that's where, like, I'm like, you mentioned earlier this, like, musical theater side of you, right? Maybe Heracles is a little bit that way. Maybe that's why this feels that way. And maybe that's
Uh-huh.
also why I like it. I'm like me processing that. Um, but no, Heracles too is so like vocally, your tone on that is crazy. I mean, your voice always incredible,
Thank you.
but I don't know, the quality of your voice on that, I was immediately like, "Oh yes, Sarah Bareilles," but like Ariel, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. Julia Gartha recorded that, and she produced that one. And she produced Heracles, so she did those 2 together.
Hell
Those are the
yeah.
sister ones, and she knows how to produce a voice. She did all the harmonies on Heracles too. I mean,
Oh,
Heracles,
amazing.
because Heracles dude doesn't have them.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like, thank you for saying about the tone. I was recorded by an expert.
And also you
Um,
have a great voice. I'm like, it can be both.
I can take it. I will take that, and also thank you.
Yeah.
Cool, I'm just being compared to Sarah Bareilles and Taylor Swift, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take all of those.
Please. Please do.
I think that, camping.mov is like, we loved each other, and I wanna kill that part of myself, and it feels weird, and this one, makes peace with it in a very different way. Like, listing tender moments. And then, if I lay my shield down, would you recognize me as one that I quite like from taking that warrior thing? And I think it just puts the warrior stuff into context, and it feels like an acceptance and moving on. That's what
Yeah.
I gotta say about Heracles too.
Beautiful.
Some days.
Some days. Um,
Home
sail
stretch.
on.
The last
Last
one.
one. Sail on. Great title for a last song
Thank
and
you.
great song for a last song. Like it does feel like an end and it bookends Dreamer so well.
I was gonna say Ceylon has a sister song, and it is the opener. And I feel like that is a great way to, I don't know, put a little bit more focus on internal journey, because that is what those 2 are about.
I wrote down a lyric that's my
Okay.
favorite, which is, well, I guess it's 2 lyrics technically. I have faith in the gut I have quieted lately. I
Mhm.
don't get caught in the glimmers of false guiding stars. We were
Crazy.
talking about affirmations earlier, and I just
Yes.
wanna say, I feel like those kind of are.
Yeah.
Especially that I like, it's not necessarily, like, in the, like, typical affirmation structure, but that to me is like, this is who I am and who I want to be. And I think the beautiful thing about I have faith in the gut I've quieted lately, it's like a returning. It's like that feeling that you talk about in Dreamer of like, I've been away from this part of myself. Now I'm coming back to it and I can have faith in that, you know?
Yes. It is wild that you pulled those 2. Expansion on those 2.
Yeah.
One of the titles that got really close was it was just too long and too weird, but I have faith in the gut I have quieted lately. I wanted to do something with that so bad
Yeah.
because you're right. It's an affirmation and it's also like a coming home. And that was one of the titles that I held on to for a really long time. So you pulled that one out and you were like, this one's the
Nice.
one. And I also feel that way. And this song, I have an old version of it before it became what it was that I think has a different spirit, but it used to be called False Guiding Stars. Um,
Whoa. Wait, crazy.
Crazy. I'll send it to you. It's a demo, but it's much more external. Because it's about like, oh, what am I following?
Yeah.
Versus like, I think how it ends up in this version is it's like, I don't follow things that aren't right for me, which I like how it ends up. But you picked out those two, you laser focused on
That's
those ones that
so
are
funny.
important.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. Well, those are, it's just, I think those also really connect with like the world of the short too, in terms
Yeah.
of that is, I have faith in the gut I've quieted lately. Like that, the short film is a little bit of that journey in like a tiny moment.
Yes.
Um, to like question your gut and go away from your gut and then be like, okay, phew, let's do it. And then the I don't get caught in the glimmers of false guiding stars, it's like looking back at these people that she idolized and not just taking their word as truth always,
Yes.
like not getting caught up in what they're thinking and being able to forge your own path and sail on, quite literally.
Yes. Yeah, that makes me think of your short in a lot of ways because it is
Yeah.
that it is taking that understanding, coming back to the self, but
Yeah.
then it also acknowledging fear and how it feels to actually do that, which is scary.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
don't
was a
know.
point where I was listening to this and I was like, "Wait, do I want this to be the end of my short instead?" And then I was like, "No, because I feel like that's how I feel now. Like looking back,
Yeah,
that's how I feel now." And it's just me as like that's how I was feeling in the moment. So it can't get more perfect than that
yeah,
for the situation, but it is cool to listen to this album and to this song knowing and thinking about like where I started with that journey and then
yeah.
getting to this point um is really cool.
They share DNA. It's just me was like a closing chapter of me moving to LA, and then this
Yeah.
is this closing chapter with more experience on this one. And it's not closing, it's opening. The closing chapter of
Of
everything
this.
begins.
Yeah, totally.
New
No, I love
beginnings.
that. I think that's so beautiful.
We'll just have to work on a different script together and then also use this song.
Perfect. Great. Works for me.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm like everything I make just having your songs.
Chokehold.
Tee.
You're allowed.
Um, cool. Oh my god, we made it through the album.
We did. You went through the whole
Can you
thing.
believe?
Thank you. I can't. We did it.
This was so fun. I'm glad that you were willing to do this, and I'm glad that it also kind of worked out in like a kismet kind of way of me wanting to do this, talking about music and your album coming out at the same time is kind of perfect. So,
I'm glad that we did that, and I also think the kismet of this short film and just, like I'm so excited for your work, and I'm glad that we got to do this, and I'm glad that my song gets to be a part of it.
it's so exciting. I actually have one question, but what is the first song of the album that you wrote, and what's the last song of the album that you wrote? And I know that I'm sure things were tweaked and whatever, but
The first song that I wrote of all of these was actually "How to Be Loved." I wrote that in, like, 2019. That's a pre-COVID banger. The last song that I wrote was "Sister, Sister." Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, I think that it is definitely my most, like, in ruminating on all of these subjects, it's my farthest along brain rumination.
Mm,
I think that I gave up partway through and, Sister, Sister and That House and Heracles. And Heracles 2, all late editions, which are
Yeah.
like the big core of it.
I lied, I have one more question,
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
When I was writing this short, I first knew that I wanted to write something about it, like, a couple years ago. And I
Mhm.
sat down with Peyton, and I was like, we started brainstorming things, and I was like, "Here's all these things that I'm feeling," and I was, like, crying and being like, "All this stuff, whatever." We had come up with different ideas, and I was like, "No, no, no." And then I finally, like, last fall was like, "Oh, here it is," and it kind of all fell into place at the same time, and it's
Mhm.
cool that, like, it's something that I feel like the core of my feelings happened a few years ago, but
Yeah.
it's cool to be, like, making now and then releasing, and I know that this is all stuff that's been such an amalgamation over a course of many years, and what does it feel like to be releasing this now at this point in your life?
I have had this discussion recently, and most respectfully, it feels like throwing up a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
I love her so much. I love this album so much. I am so ready to be done because I finished writing it at a certain point, and then the past few years had been production, recording, background vocals, editing, mixing, mastering, which I got sick in the middle of, and so it's taken stupid long. Where, like,
Yeah,
I think it feels crazy to have this being seen by the world. It feels like vomiting because it's very vulnerable, and also it feels like it's gonna, like, suck a little bit, and I'm gonna feel better after.
yeah, yeah,
And I have, like, so much other stuff written that is not ruminating on traumatic vibes,
yeah,
like good vibes, falling in love songs, and they've just been sort of sitting and waiting. So I
yeah.
think that this feels a lot like, it's gonna open a dam of, like, I processed a lot of this, and now I can move forward. That's how it feels.
You can sail on, if you will.
I can sail on, if you will. I wrote "Sail On," and then I was like, "Great, now all I have to do is record this, and I guess I'll wait to sail on until all of the mastering is done." I don't know. There are a lot of sail on points, but this feels like a
Yeah,
sail on point. Feels
yeah,
like a sail on point.
that's great. And when this is posted, it'll be out in the world.
That is so crazy to me. Takes a village. Takes a village
It
for a short
does.
film, takes a village for an album.
It does. Um, do you have a song to share? A song for Saturday,
Yes.
as my dad has coined.
A song for Saturday. I have picked a song to share. Did I close it out? I did. I picked a Katie Gavin song. Are you a Katie
Okay.
Gavin fan? Do you know Muna?
I do know Muna, but I have not listened to Katie Gavin's solo stuff.
It's a recent happening for me, and I'm very happy with the fact that I did.
Great.
The song is called Casual Drug Use. I love it. It's about, processing and all of those good things, and then, doing casual drug use just to cope with a bunch of stuff. It's great for a lot of reasons. Her voice is amazing. Production's amazing. But you said to pick out a lyric, right?
Yes.
Here's the first one, because both of these made me think about processing, and they made me think of your short film. San Vicente, I was apprehensive about taking this trip. Some days you do your best, and some days you do what gets you out of bed. It's my first.
Mm, love.
And then the second one is the bridge, which is my favorite one. We were looking over across the freeway at downtown. She said sometimes it's harder to come back home than to come down.
Oof.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. I think I'm definitely gonna like that song.
It's
Dang.
good.
Okay.
And
Heavy
it made me
hitter.
think of your piece.
Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna be listening to that immediately.
Casual Drug Use by Katie Gavin. It's my favorite Bach right now. It's the song of
Yay.
Saturday, the Saturday song.
Yay. Yeah, I realized because this is the first thing of this that we're doing, I feel like I should explain Song for Saturday, which is that when I was in college, my dad every Friday would send me a Flashback Friday photo. He would start it with hashtag FBF, and then he would usually give, like, a little bit of context to whatever the picture was. Sometimes it was, like, things from my childhood, sometimes it was things from when he was younger, it depended. Sometimes there was a little story, sometimes it was literally just the picture and hashtag FBF and a
Mhm.
cute little, like, "I love you" or whatever. And then I remember when college was ending, I was like, "Darn, I'm so sad because these Flashback Fridays are gonna end." And then when I moved to LA, he started doing hashtag S4S, Song for Saturday, or Song for Sarah, because that
Aw.
also works. And it would sometimes be like a YouTube video performance, like live performance of a song, or sometimes it would be like the actual studio recording of the song, and usually a little bit of a description of why he's been thinking about it or related to something that I was going through or whatever. And then he would always choose a favorite lyric. So that's part of what inspired me to do this whole thing in the first place. Because
Okay.
I think it wraps into the short really nicely, and it's a way to talk to people about music, which is something that I really love to do. And that my dad and I always love to talk about music. So that's where all of this came from, and it's a fun way to like connect with people and talk with people um who I admire. So, I'm really glad that you did this with me. This was so fun.
I'm really glad too. Song for Saturday, and what a fun interview. I love talking about art with you.
Yay! Yeah, this was so fun. I'm so glad that this worked out
Yeah, me too.
perfectly. And
Perfectly.
everybody go listen to Ariel's album,
Thank you.
Things You Know as Normal.
Do it, guys. It's sad.
Please. Please.
It's
Truly. And also, if you're seeing this when this is posted, there is a Seed and Spark open. We're crowdfunding for my short film. Um,
woo-hoo!
we have some fun little incentives. I know the world is crazy and money is tough and hard, but um, any little thing, even like a share or a follow on the page, is helpful. So if you enjoyed this, you'll hopefully enjoy both the short film and Ariel's album, obviously.
Yes. Support this beautiful piece being made. Do it, do it.
Wee! Yay, art.
Yay,
Okay, well,
art.
thanks. Thank you everybody for watching or listening or whatever, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.